Hello fellow writers, my name is Laura and welcome to my channel where I talk about the mental challenges of being a writer. And if you are a returning writer, I'm so happy that you could take some of your time out of your day and come and see me. Today we are going to be talking about something very, very scary. We're going to be talking about how to work up to public speaking. First, I would like to say that if you're here watching this video, kudos to you, because I know the idea of public speaking for many writers is like a really, really terrifying thing. I know that it was and still is for me. I have worked extensively on getting more confident talking publicly. I mean, part of that is actually YouTube videos. I did YouTube videos before this. I talked about houseplants for a long time. I have done Pokemon card videos, and now I'm doing these videos. And so I've kind of gotten used to at least talking to a camera. And I just get slightly more embarrassed when there's actual people that I can see. So right now, it's wonderful because I've had all this practice, and so I want to share some of these tips with you, so that you can do this in a perfectly safe way, that will hopefully not trigger your anxiety too high. So the first tip is literally taking some of your work and reading it out loud. Go somewhere where no one can hear you. If you're in a house where there's other people around, go to your bedroom or go to a closet or your basement or your car, something. Find a place where no one's going to hear you, right? And just read your work out loud. I know this sounds a little what does that even matter? But really, I was surprised when I first read my work out loud how embarrassed I got about just reading my work out loud. The words that I had written, even when there's no one around, right? Because it's speaking them makes them more real than reading them on the page. I don't know. At least go ahead and just read some of your work out loud. If it's really, really hard for you, then you'll want to do it multiple times. You'll want to kind of do it until you get comfortable reading your own words. The added benefit to this is that actually this can help you edit. Reading stuff out loud, oftentimes you catch errors that you didn't realize were there. And sometimes you realize that some of the things where you write them and you read it and you're like, this is fine. And then you speak it and you're like, wow, this is really awkward, right? So it does have that added benefit as well, where it can help you edit and become a better writer. But mostly we're just getting used to hearing our voices out loud. The second thing that I suggest you do is to go to the same spot where nobody is going to hear you and pull out your camera and record yourself reading. And this is going in with the caveat that you are going to delete this video immediately after, right? You're going to record this video, however long of a video it is, you definitely want to read at least a page, maybe 2 pages, right? But record that video and then delete it off of your phone, and then you can even go into the thing where the trash recycling bin where it keeps it on your phone and delete it out of there too. And then that way nobody can ever see it. But now we're at the stage where we want to kind of get used to looking at the camera and speaking to the camera. You can either have the phone turned toward you so that you can see your face and how you look, which is how I record these videos. I can see myself, or you can turn it around so that you're just looking at the camera. I'm not sure. I've always preferred to be able to see myself, just because then I know if I'm centered within the video, and I don't suddenly wander off and suddenly I'm talking way over here. But since you're not keeping this, it doesn't matter. You can figure out which way. I think some people just looking at the little camera thing is weird. So figure that out, but know that whatever you record, you're immediately going to be deleting afterward. No one's ever going to see it. No one's ever going to hear it. You're just getting the practice of speaking to a thing. So after that happens, After you might need to do that a couple of times until you kind of get comfortable with, okay, this is fine, right? Um, I want you to, if you have a pet, a dog or a cat or a fish, and if you don't have any pets, then a stuffed animal of some variety, something with a face, right? You want to read to them. And this has the added benefit of your pet might like your voice, but they do not care about your writing. That's why if you have to do it with a stuffed animal, that's fine too. Your stuffed animal also does not care about your writing. The truth of the matter is that a lot of people in the world, in general, don't care about your writing. Like your friends, your family probably care about your writing because you're the one doing it and they love you. But most people don't care about your writing. And so you want to get comfortable with the idea that who you're speaking to doesn't have to care, right? And we're doing this with your dog or your cat is not going to suddenly start critiquing your story. And if the cat gets up and walks away, the cat got up and walked away because the cat got up and walked away, right? It's not that they're giving you feedback on your story, right? And you could be comfortable in that fact. Like, as smart as some cats are, as smart as some dogs are, they are not giving you feedback by, falling asleep while you're reading. And after you have done that for a while and have gotten comfortable talking to your cat or your stuffed animal, now is when we're going to pull out the video camera again, or the phone, and we're going to record ourselves and we're going to keep it. This does not mean that it needs to go anywhere. Like, you don't need to, I'm not saying that you need to post it. Obviously, if you want to post it, you are welcome to post it. YouTube is great. You can just upload stuff there. Even if you post it on YouTube, it's very unlikely that anybody's going to see it. Unless you've got something specifically that people are searching for. But either way, you just want to record yourself and then keep that video, right? Because then we're dealing with, okay, this is here and it's real, and how do I feel about that? How comfortable do I feel recording something that's going to continue to exist, that somebody could find, probably not going to find, but somebody could find and watch. And so the last step for right now is finding somebody that you trust, a person that you know is not going to make fun of you. Like, logically, you know they're not going to make fun of you, because you're still going to have that, that fear that we all get, where you get in front of a crowd and you assume somebody is going to jump up and scream that you're the worst writer ever, or whatever that is. Sorry if that's triggering for you, but you want to find somebody that you know is trustworthy, and you want to say to them, I am going to read this thing to you. I do not want any feedback. I don't need any help with the wording. I don't need any help with how it sounds. I just want you to listen. You can decide, when you're asking them to do this, if you want them to say, make positive, little nods, right? The positive, nonverbal types of things, little type of things, right? It sounds silly, but right? We're getting used to reading to an actual living human person who is in front of us. And if this is somebody you trust, and you give them these instructions, they're probably going to follow them, right? If they don't, then we'll screw that noise and go find somebody you actually can trust. This is definitely not the time for practical jokes. This is not the time for anybody. Somebody that you know that you can trust. Some of my first times reading my stuff out loud to my husband, we were just in the car. And that worked really well because he was listening, but he wasn't looking at me. And it wasn't the entirety of his focus. So that's a suggestion. Maybe if somebody's doing a house task, cooking dinner or something like that, that is something that might be helpful. But what you're going to discover is that as you do each of these steps, you're not going to be super comfortable with it right away. And then as you do it more and more, then you'll get more comfortable with it. And really the beginning of this, like, you'd be surprised. I think I said this before, but you'd really be surprised how weird it is to read your stuff out loud, and how much of a benefit it is to have read your stuff out loud, right? Like, because nothing in this video is going to be, I am not at any point in this video going to tell you to get in front of a group, and like, or, you know, more than one person and like read, right? You can do that if you want to, but like that's not what this is about. This is just about learning to read stuff out loud and getting the cadence of it and getting the feel for it and just getting the skill of reading out loud, right? Because if you just kind of go immediately, like you write, and then somebody's like, oh, why don't you read this in front of whatever? Or, you know, you get a book published, right? And then it's like, okay, let's go read it in a library, or let's go read it in Barnes & Noble or whatever. And then you go do that, like, you're piling a whole bunch of skills on top of each other. There's the skill of reading. There's the skill of reading something that you have written, so you know how it's supposed to sound, but it sounds different coming out of your mouth. And there's the skill of presenting/performing in front of people, right? You've got several layers there, and so we're working on the first two without you really even having to get in front of people. You're just going to get comfortable reading your own stuff. You're going to get comfortable reading. You know, when you video your own stuff, you can watch it back and, you know, be like, oh, I need to talk more slowly, or oh, I need to talk more quickly, or I need to enunciate my T's, or, you know, whatever it is, right? And then that way, when you do get to the point where somebody is like, why don't you go read in front of this group? You already have reading and reading your stuff under your belt. And then it's just a matter of learning how to present and perform in front of people. So you're only worried now more about one thing. And I still get super nervous when I get up in front of a crowd. I do not do it often, but whenever I get up in front of a crowd, I mean, and I've done it for years now. Occasionally, again, it's not like an everyday thing, but it's definitely, part of it is you just kind of have to acknowledge that you're going to be nervous about it, and then learn what it is that you can do in order to mitigate that a little bit, right? And getting started with that is being able to read and write to read and write. You do want to be able to read and write, because it's very difficult to write a book and read your book if you cannot read and write. But you want to learn to be able to read your stuff out loud. And so I'm hoping that this will encourage you to, because remember, the first step is go somewhere where nobody can hear you and just read your stuff out loud, right? Like, we're making this as safe and as possible, right? No one's going to hear you. You can do this. Like, I believe that you can do this. I know that you can. And I'm coming from a place, I'm talking to a video camera that I'm going to later be editing and putting up on YouTube. And I used to be exactly where you are, where I was terrified of even the sound of my voice reading anything that I read. So it is absolutely possible for you to do this. And if you're even able to just go one time and read some of your own words alone to yourself, go ahead and put it in the comment, because I want to celebrate that with you. I want you to have a reward and positive experience about that. So please go ahead and put it in the comments. I will celebrate with you. And, you know, as you move up and do the more difficult things, I mean, they are more difficult, you know, put them here, and so that I can come and celebrate, and other people can celebrate with you. Okay? So if you like this video, go ahead and like this video. If you want to hear more of my tips about the mental challenges of writing, then go ahead and subscribe. I will be putting up more videos, so I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye-bye.